Good morning, y'all. Good morning. It's welcome to My Left Ear. It is Friday, June 17th, 2022. My Left Ear is a left-leaning YouTube channel, political, psychic commentary, culture, some good evidence stories, which are always uplifting. So join us, and if you're first time, please subscribe. It would be a gift to me. A gift, not a grift, a gift to me. And hit the like button because that helps all of us on YouTube. When I'm not doing this, I call myself a change agent, which is I help people change. I help people grow creatively, spiritually, internally, and with very practical issues. So my work is represented below. You can look up what is therapeutic hypnosis, what is psychic coaching, and some other things that are below in the description section, and you can review and see what I'm all about. I am the writer, producer, director of the My Left Ear. That's what I always like to say because it feels empowering. I'm always letting everybody know about my book, The Comic's Daughter, which has gotten really great reviews from all of you. There are still copies left to purchase. That's also in the description section, but I'll put it in the community also. And it's a collector's item because after I sell these, there will be no more copies exactly like this. So it really will be a collector's item. And then I started Patreon a few weeks ago, and more people are joining, which is so exciting. And I will be uploading a brand new Patreon on Saturday, which is tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to do some runes. Got a couple of great stories to share with you, and we'll continue on. All right, this is for entertainment purposes only. Here we go. Today's My Left Ear is just pretty much all about the January 6th hearing, which I've been keeping close on. And there was a quote that I took away, but I can't say who said the quote. And the quote is, "It was worse than we knew." It was worse than we knew, meaning the whole sedition and all the people that were involved in making the wheels work. So this is about the third hearing, which was yesterday, the 16th. And that hearing really was focused a lot on Mike Pence and how he was threatened, cajoled, bullied to overturn the election because even though people knew he had no legal right to do it, he had no authority, they acted like he did. And they applied a lot of pressure on him. So 45 and his posse created the coup scheme. And they focused on the legality of Mike Pence's position to follow the law and then have his life threatened. But Pence never wavered. He just didn't waver. Now, we find out later that he did consult a very well-known conservative judge that's extremely well-respected, and he also consulted previous vice president, who I have written down here, but he was so ineffective that my brain won't even remember. Dan Quayle. I'm sorry, I apologize. I know you're a nice person, Dan Quayle. It just, kind of dull, and I forgot your... So here I have my Zoom problem again. Okay, here we go. Back. Oh my God, it did it again. I'm so sorry, people. Be patient. Talk amongst yourselves, as they say. All right. But Pence's general legal counsel that was for him, Greg Jacobs, played a critical role in countering the efforts to persuade Pence not to certify the electoral votes. And he was part of the vice president's team that pushed back on John Eastman. And John Eastman is the lawyer who embraced the fringe legal theories. He has no background in constitutional law. He is a lawyer, but he's really, substandard guy, and he should lose his law license. Now, what we find out from yesterday is that Pence really knew that he could do nothing. And at first it was inferred that he called Dan Quayle to say, well, what should I do? What should I do? And in retrospect, my left ear thinks he just called to discuss it with him, because nobody knows unless they're in the vice president position, right? Dan Quayle knew something, and Dan Quayle did say, hey, you got to do it, buddy. So now I'm going to move on to Eastman. He's such an interesting character. He wrote the famous 7-point coup plot, the bullet points. He refused advice. And I talked about this last, I think on Monday or Tuesday, that he consulted with an extremely famous attorney whose name is not, I didn't write down, who basically said, find yourself a really good criminal attorney. And then supposedly hung up on Eastman, like, I don't even want to talk to you. So Jacobs, the attorney for Mike Pence, testified yesterday that Eastman said this: of course Al Gore couldn't do it in 2000, and Kamala Harris won't be able to do it in 2024. But let's do it today. Those are the words of Eastman. So he incriminates himself. Then when Eastman went in front of the January committee, he pleaded the fifth on everything. Just everything was. He didn't even say I plead the fifth. He just went fifth. It was really obnoxious. And then after that, he decided, his words, I should be on the pardon list if it's still in the works. But he was refused. He didn't get the pardon. So yesterday, let me just read you a little line item of what the committee learned or reinforced. That 45 had no substance whatsoever, no basis for turning over the election. And he was told over and over again, and he lost over 60 lawsuits, okay? Mark Short, executive assistant to Pence, I don't know what his I don't want to say executive assistant because he did more than that. But Mark Short has been testifying honestly. And he alerted the Secret Service that Mike Pence's life was in danger the day before January 6th, spoken very publicly about it. We now have proof that Pence's life was in jeopardy, and 45 was pressuring, calling him names, calling him the pussycat word. I hope YouTube is okay with that. And at one point, in the beginning stages of the surge, the crazed crowd that was ready for blood was like, 40 yards away from Mike Pence and his family before they got shuttled. That's very scary. I don't really like him, and I think he's a phony, but God, I wouldn't want that, He's not a criminal. How do you like that? He's a phony, but he's not a criminal. And just to mention, there are criticisms of why didn't Pence speak up before, because he knew all this stuff. I don't have an answer for you other than he doesn't have a lot of grit, strength. I think he's always had his eye on the presidency, and I think he makes decisions based on, what'll it get me? Will it prevent me from getting where I want? And also, he just isn't an angel. I consider Mike Pence part of the reason that so many people died of COVID, because he really didn't apparently do much, and he was supposed to. I don't know why my thing is blowing up today, but it is really annoying me. And I imagine it's annoying you. So going on now, there was this Judge Luttig who testified yesterday. As an older man, kind of portly, talked very slowly. And when he was asked a question, he really took a moment to consider the question. So I know from Twitter that people got frustrated with Judge Luttig, but everything he said was of great consequence. There wasn't a missed word. I mean, just such a smart, thoughtful man. And finally, I realized we're just used to people talking fast, and we're used to digital, and he just took his time. He did nothing wrong. But it's because he understood the gravity of the situation. So at the end, and this is the judge, retired judge, that Mike Pence consulted, like, what's going on? What are my options? Blah, blah. And at the end, Judge Luttig said, what happened and what is happening is tantamount to a revolution within a constitutional crisis. That is his line. That is his original line. It packs a punch. And he also said he would lay down in the middle of a road before he would have let Mike Pence throw out those electric votes. So that came at the very end, and that was like, whoa, what a statement. And you may or not recall that a district judge, Carter, said maybe 2 or 3 months ago, this was a conspiracy to overturn the election, and it was Trump, Giuliani, Eastman, and Mark Meadows. Those are your main players. Now they are talking about who was the liaison with the Proud Boys, and unofficially, my left ear wants to tell you it was Roger Stone, and that will come forward. Okay. Now, GINNI Thomas, and I've been on this rip about GINNI Thomas for months and months and months. I've seen it coming. I was afraid it was going to get ignored, but more news keeps coming out about this woman who's in another cult. So they've discovered text to Meadows where she says this is the end of America. Text to Arizona election person, I don't know who it is, but asked them to throw out the legitimate electoral votes, which didn't happen. And now there's new documents, I think text, showing her involvement with Eastman. And Eastman was a clerk for her husband, Clarence Thomas. So those three are very tight, okay? And now the committee and Benny Thompson is, quote, inviting GINNI to come and speak with them. And that is in advance of a subpoena. They want to be polite. She's the wife of the Supreme Court judge. She's not getting out of this. This is what I want you to know. It's all kind of up in the air with her, but it's getting deeper and deeper. But she's gaslighting. And there was a message that she put through a conservative TV or radio show that said, I am delighted to go talk to the January 6th committee and just clear it all up. So she's sort of like dismissing it. In fact, the quote is, I can't wait to clear up these misconceptions. I'm looking forward to talking to them. But she only said it through a conservative media operation. And there's no history at all, ever, of a wife of a Supreme Court judge interfering, getting this kind of press, stepping over the lines. She is the first. And, just a note about Justice Roberts, Supreme Court Justice Roberts, he's more outraged about finding out who leaked the Alito letter about Roe versus Wade instead of being angry about GINNI Thomas being part of the insurrection. And what did Clarence Thomas know? And they just seem to be have their head in the sands, but they won't be able to do it forever. So this is where I did a rune, because today didn't feel like a big rune day, except this one did pop for me. So this is what I'm going to share with you. With the Supreme Court, their credibility being so in question right now, and them losing that cred, this is what I wanted to know, and I believe that you'll find it interesting too. So my question with the runes was, will decisions on Roe v. Wade be postponed due to SCOTUS controversy? That's what I think should happen, because Clarence is shaping up to be illegitimate. So what I got was, the first rune I got was the rune of joy. Now when it's joy and it's good, it looks like that. That's the reverse. I got the reverse. In fact, I got two reverses on this reading and this question. So here we go. Things are slow coming to fruition. This is very interesting. This comes right from the runes book. That's what the runes are on fire, you know. It says the process of birth is slow and arduous, and fears arrive for the child within. Isn't that weird that I asked that question and I got this? So it goes on to say a crisis, a difficult passage is at hand, although it could be brief. Patience, clarity, and perseverance is called for, and we're never going to give up on Roe v. Wade. I mean, I'm certainly not, as long as I can breathe. I don't care what happens. I'm not giving up on it. Then the second rune was the rune of opening, reversed. All right. So let's see. That's reversed. Okay. Opening. Expect a darkening of the light in some situation. No kidding. A friendship, partnership, or some aspect of yourself is dying. This rune points to a death of a way of being. Be prepared to live for a period of time in emptiness. And while waiting for the new to become illuminated, do not be seduced by the old ways. And the last rune to this question was initiation, and that was not reversed. So that's initiation. It's considered a mystery rune that points to that which is beyond our frail manipulative powers. Its ways are secret and hidden, and that tells me there's things we still don't know about the conversations about Roe v. Wade. It's no surprise that there's things we don't know, right? So this rune is concerned with the deepest stratum of our being, and that I interpret that as our women's physical autonomy. Now, it does say there may be surprises, gains, or rewards that we did not anticipate. I highlighted that. Our bedrock on which our destiny is founded is challenged. And once again, you know, these deaths, I'll talk about death in a minute, but these deaths are very metaphorically speaking. That's what they're talking about. That's my interpretation. So it says this rune may indicate experiencing a death, but it also says focus on renewal of your spirit. So here's what I'm putting together. This is heavy. This is dark. It's probably unlikely that there will be a postponement. There's just this feeling that they're going to be pressured to push Roe v. Wade through. But at the very end of this reading, it indicates to me there may be some surprises in store. And rewards that we did not anticipate. I've got to acknowledge that, my friends. So I'm going to throw this again, not today, but this is very interesting. It definitely picked up on my question. It talked about a death. Now, it would be the death of women's right to choose. All right, we're going to revisit this. This one sentence in the initiation one about something hidden is what is grabbing my left ear in a big way. That's why I don't want to come down on yes or no right now. And I'm sorry if that's frustrating. That will happen sometimes. One thing, Harry Littman, who is on MSNBC all the time, and I just really like this guy. He's a constitutional law professor. I didn't know this, but he's at UCLA, which is right near me. And he's an MSNBC commentator. I just listen very carefully when Harry speaks. He said this was not abstract. It was wide-ranging and with granular detail. I love, lawyers have great words. They have to. But he's in granular detail. Love it. And then in terms, this is what I found it. In terms of Trump being indicted, or what? Yeah, I guess indicted for attempted murder of Mike Pence. It certainly crossed my mind. I don't know if it's crossed your mind, but people are talking about it more and more now. Littman said, so interesting, he said, it's not clear if you could convict him of attempted murder of the vice president, but it's not clear that you couldn't. And then he just said, this has to be the darkest moment in presidential history. So that's what I'm covering today, and I will be back. You know, I'm not sure. I want to do 2 for you a week, but I kind of want to come after the next January 6th. But let me see, because I am promising you 2 shows a week. So let me see, and I'll put it in my community page. My original promise was due Tuesday, so maybe I'll do Tuesday. We don't know what's going to happen between now and Tuesday, right? But I'll let you know, and I'll put a note in the community page. I'm committed. Now we're going to go on to good evidence. Grabbed this story this morning. It just made me so happy. Don't know if you read about it, but Jimmy Carter, ex-president, former president Jimmy Carter, boarded an airplane. I don't know where it was meant to go, but it was a full plane, and he was going to sit in first class. But before the plane took off and people had to buckle up, he walked through the entire cabinet, business class and regular, what do you call that? Regular class. And he shook everybody's hand. He went through the entire cabin and said hello and shook everybody's hand. Now, there was some kind of political guy that was on the plane who took a picture and reported it. And Carter was standing up and he was and talking to people, shaking their hand. And when it was over, before the plane took off, everybody got up and gave him a standing ovation. It's just a beautiful story. We're not going to have Jimmy Carter for too much longer. He's really up there and he's amazing. And the other thing with Jimmy Carter is this is really, I come from German Russian Jews, so I have no I went to a lot of churches as a kid with friends. My parents thought that was great, so I was exposed a lot, but I'm not a Christian. But my view of Jimmy Carter is that he embodies what Christianity is all about. So here we're going to go with the quotes. This one grabbed me because I'm reading it before I realized who said it. And I'm thinking, well, that kind of feels like me a little bit. And I'll tell you after I read the quote. It is my business to know things. Perhaps I have trained myself to see what others overlook. If not, why should you come to consult me? You know whose quote that is? Sherlock Holmes. And I have to tell you, I have a college friend that called me Sherlock. That was her nickname for me. I loved it. I'm going to say it again because it's such a cool, and there really wasn't a Sherlock Holmes. He was a character, but they say a lot of modern detective work was based on the fictional novels about Sherlock Holmes. It is my business to know things. Perhaps I have trained myself to see what others overlook. And by the way, that comes from a dysfunctional childhood. If not, why should you come to consult me? So I invite you to come consult me. All right. The next quote, there is I'm not sure what she calls herself, but I want to say she's a master life coach. I like her. She's one of my favorite people out there that teaches, supports, and I would love to meet her one day. She is so practical, no nonsense, so helpful. It's Mel Robbins, if you haven't heard of her, and she's got a whole deal on YouTube if you want to look her up. I think she's fabulous. She's always looking for solutions for people, and she's very grounded and real. So hi, Mel. I don't know her, but I want to say hi, Mel. I think you're great. The fact is, the world needs you. So keep on making your music and your art. Keep fighting for your happiness and for your dreams. Share your story and your struggles along the way. And that is Mel Robbins. Always inspirational, practical, and down to earth, my kind of gal. So there we go. Most likely I will see you on Tuesday, but like I said, I'm going to see what's going on with the news and the next hearing, and I'll let you know. And then look for a new Patreon tomorrow, my new Patreon family. We're just going to continue to have fun. I keep firing more ideas. So see you for some fun tomorrow. In the meantime, have a safe weekend. Make peace. Make good memories. Okay? Bye-bye. Bye-bye.